name is TheGameBase. Today we're reviewing with my stupid face. Even though my singing is kind of askew, this is a Galaxy review. Super Mario Galaxy, a historically amazing game. I thought it was the perfect game to kick off my classic review series because the question, does it hold up, is a very interesting one, especially after games like Odyssey. Going into the release of this game, 3D Mario was in a really interesting place. Super Mario 64 was a smash hit. Everyone loved it, but Super Mario Sunshine left fans feeling divisive. This was kind of Mario's chance to bounce back and do something great, and in my opinion, Nintendo did the most ambitious thing they've ever done with Mario, which was take him to space. Space just opened up the possibilities to a level that we have yet to see in another Mario game. They could do whatever they want in whatever way they wanted to do it, and it was such a great idea, and given how the game is received, I would say that it worked out. Mario Galaxy, however, has a much more linear gameplay than its predecessors, 64 and Sunshine, so much so that Nintendo categorizes it with the 3D World and 3D Land kind of games, which I don't really agree with. I get what they're going for by splitting up the games in that way, but I just don't think comparing this game to 3D Land and 3D World is very fair. Some people really like the linearity and some people really don't. So I have seen, in the very few people that I have seen that don't like Super Mario Galaxy are huge fans of Odyssey and 64 and Sunshine because they love to explore, and Galaxy doesn't really offer a whole lot of exploring. And while I do have my opinions on the subject of which I like better, I think that for Galaxy, this style works beautifully. When you think linear, you think boring, straightforward, and Galaxy is anything but that. Zipping from planet to planet is as fun as the Mario series has ever been in this game. It feels like a grandiose adventure, which is something that you can't really say for most other Mario games. My only major issue with the game is the lack of a collectible. They reward you for exploring and doing extra little tasks, basically just with 1-ups, and 1-ups are not an issue in this game, given that you get 5 every time you open the game from Toad. This isn't necessarily a terrible thing. The lack of a collectible definitely makes you have to worry less and just go through the level at your own pace and have fun, and I can definitely see the argument that that makes it better. For me personally though, I really like exploring these worlds, and I would like to be rewarded for my exploration once in a while. Despite the issue I have with the amount of 1-ups that you get, I think the game's difficulty is pretty perfectly balanced. Some of these levels are going to eat you alive. In the playthrough of the game I did for this review, I really didn't have any trouble with the typical hard levels in this game. I don't really have a problem with the motion controls like a lot of people do, so those levels really didn't bother me that much. But for some reason in this playthrough, for me it was Sling Pod Galaxy that gave me a ton of trouble. Take a look. Oh! Oh my gosh! The exact same thing. All right, this is the one. Get the 1-up and just die exactly the same way again. Just gotta send it and then die, and then die. Of course. I mean, what else would happen? Money shot. Oh. God, the first freaking one. I call this one the old switcheroo. And now. We did it! We did it! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. This is it, this is it, this is it. Oh! Let's freaking go. The bosses in this game are also amazing. I think they're some of the strongest in the entire series. Look at a boss like Bouldergeist. It's one of the most iconic and most difficult bosses in the entire Mario series. Most platformers really have 1 or 2 memorable bosses, but this game has a ton. Even besides Bouldergeist, you have King Fin, Mega Leg, King Caliente, and so many more. It is an absolute goldmine for good boss fights. The gameplay in Super Mario Galaxy is its strongest trait. It's unique, it's fun, and it never gets old. You can't go wrong with how this game plays. For a lot of games such as JRPGs, I'm gonna take into account how good the story is, but for platformers, I think that it's a little bit different of a scale. I think the story really doesn't matter, but the world around you has to be vibrant and unique in order to have a great experience. Super Mario Galaxy's world is exactly that. It's crazy going back and seeing just how massive a game this was for the Mario series that we know today. It introduced some of the most important characters in the Mario universe. It introduced Captain Toad, who went on to have a major role in Super Mario 3D World, and even got his own game. It introduced the Lumas, who appear in some form in basically every Mario game. But most importantly, it introduces Rosalina, who in my opinion has the best story of any character in any Mario game. As you go through the game, you unlock chapters to Rosalina's storybook that you can read in the library. The story is about a little girl taking off into the starry skies with a Luma that she befriended in order to find the Luma's mother. The story's fun and adorable, and I just want so much more of it. It is amazing in every way, but sometimes it can be heartbreaking. As Rosalina gets deeper into her journey, she realizes there's not a way home, and she has to cope with that like any real little girl would. Just to really drive it home, I'm gonna read you guys part of one of the chapters of Rosalina's story. This is around the time that she's starting to realize she's never gonna get home, and she's remembering some of the good times she used to have with her family as she looks back down at her home. She remembered rubbing the sleep out of her eyes as she followed her father up that hill to look at the stars. She remembered how she and her brother would sled down that hill. She remembered having picnics with her mother on that hill on bright and windy days. "I want to go home! I want to go home right now!" The girl burst into tears and the Lumas didn't know what to do. "I want to go home. I want to go back to my house by the hill. I want to see my mother." The girl was shouting now, her face wet with tears. "But I know she's not there. I knew all along she wasn't out there in the sky. Because... She's sleeping under the tree on the hill." The girl's cries echoed through the stars and a hush fell over the area. It's amazing that a Mario game can bring some people to tears. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, before this playthrough, I had never read Rosalina's storybook. I had always heard that it was good, but back like 6 years ago, I really didn't care. I was just kind of there to play the game. But oh my gosh, it is so good. And it makes me love Rosalina as a character so much more. She really is one of the most iconic Mario characters for a reason. Super Mario Galaxy is one of, if not the best Mario game ever created. It was such an ambitious and great idea, and it was executed perfectly. The levels are super memorable, the boss fights are amazing, the soundtrack is a banger, and there's even an amazing story if you take the time to read it. Super Mario Galaxy set a new bar for Mario games, and to be honest, I don't know if that bar has ever been met again to this day. Going into all of my reviews, I'm gonna do a thing where I basically ask myself, what do I think this game is going to be going in before I do the playthrough? And when I went into this game, I thought that I was gonna give this game a 9 out of 10. But that was before I read Rosalina's storybook. That really changed the game. And not only that, but going back and playing this game 100% again, and it not losing a shred of quality after all this time, it being just as good as I remembered it, is an amazing achievement. I don't want to throw out 10 out of 10s like they're nothing, but I feel for Super Mario Galaxy, I have to give this game a 10 out of 10 It is a masterpiece if you have ever seen one. You can ask nothing more from a Mario game. What more do you want? Sure, I have minor little teeny tiny flaws with the game, but they don't hinder the experience. It's still perfect for what it is. Thank you guys so much for watching my first classic game review. It was a lot of fun. I want suggestions. I want to know what game you want to see reviewed, so tell me in the comments down below what you want to see. For my next review, I'm going to be doing Super Mario Galaxy 2 because I'm kind of already on a roll with these games, so it's going to be interesting to compare the two head to head. I've not played Super Mario Galaxy 2 since its release. I 100%ed it when it came out, and I've not touched it since. Every time I get a Super Mario Galaxy itch, I seem to always go back to the original, so this one's gonna be really interesting. Can it live up to this game? It's gonna be pretty difficult as this was a 10 out of 10, but who knows? Maybe it can get a 10 out of 10 too. From what I remember, it was fantastic. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.